What's my cue?
Hey bestie, it's Kati Wasserman. I am a mom, an esthetician, the owner of Flagstaff Skincare Med Spa, and Prickly Bear Skincare, a post-hair removal line. I started Beauty Talk Confessions because honestly, I got tired of how fake the beauty industry can feel. The conversations that happen between wax strips, peels, and facials that no one ever talks about publicly, we are gonna go there. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's peel back the layers, one confession at a time. Welcome to Beauty Talk Confessions, where the secrets come out and the glow gets real. Welcome back to Beauty Talk Confessions. I'm Kati Wasserman, and today's episode is one I really want you to lean into because we're talking about one of the most vulnerable services in the beauty industry and the kind of trust it actually takes to do it well. I'm sitting down with Brittany and Nicole, a licensed esthetician of 9 years and the owner of Smooth Aesthetics. She specializes in Brazilian waxing for both male and females. And Brittany is the kind of waxer who isn't just good, she's precise, consistent, and she makes people feel safe in the second they walk in their door. In this conversation, we get into the real stuff: ingrowns, aftercare, hormones, why some clients struggle no matter how much they exfoliate, and what it's actually like building a loyal clientele as a solo business owner. If you've ever wondered, am I doing this right? Whether you're a client or an esthetician, you're going to feel seen in this one. All right, let's get into it. Welcome back to Beauty Talk Confessions. I'm Kati Wasserman, and I am here today with Brittany and Nicole. She is a licensed esthetician and has been in the industry for 9 years. She is the owner of Smooth Aesthetics, and she is a highly skilled waxer specializing in Brazilian waxing for both male and females. And I am so excited for her to be on the show today and for her to share her insight and her specialties for all of our listeners. And I just can't wait for this conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. Thanks for the opportunity to sit here and chat with you and share some of my knowledge to your listeners.
I love it. Well, I would love to kind of start off the beginning and have you tell us a little bit about how you got into the industry and what made you decide to focus on waxing.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I got licensed back in 2014. And for the first 2 years, I actually specialized in hair, realized it wasn't for me. It wasn't where my passion is. So then I went over to the skincare side of things. And with having the background in hair, waxing just seemed like a good way to get into the skincare side of things. And then I worked at a waxing studio where that's all that we did. And then I really kind of perfected my craft while working there, which over the time led into me opening up my own studio once I gained the experience and knowledge that I needed to be a successful business owner.
I love it. And how long have you been with your own practice, on your own practice?
Last 2.5 years. It's crazy how
amazing.
quick that goes. Yeah. Thank you.
That's awesome. So you opened up right after the craziness of COVID and everything. I bet that was a challenging time.
Yeah. I mean, COVID was just a crazy time for this industry in general. I actually had just started managing right when COVID happened. So it was crazy learning a new role and then also having to learn a new way of life. But
yeah. Oh, well, so did you have a good little timeline of managing before COVID, or did that just kind of stuff? Okay. So you threw you in there, but you were like, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And did that give you the encouragement to open up your own space then?
To an extent, just because I feel like when I switched into management, I got some good skills and learned a lot. However, I realized I did not want to actually manage people, but it gave me the background in business that I needed to set myself up to be successful to run my own. I learned so much more about metrics and how to function a business more aside from the service part of things.
Yeah, totally. So with your space, is it just yourself? Do you have employees?
As of now, it is just me. I haven't asked since I'm relocating if I'm going to bring anybody on. If I ever did, it would be a renting situation. Again, I don't think that I want to be in charge of other people.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm glad that you have that. It's a clear path. And that's nice to just know what you want. And it's hard managing people. It's something I struggle with. And I go back and forth owning my own business where I love it, but then it's challenging, in our industry, I feel to not have that really interpersonal relationship. And sometimes as a boss, it's how we're so personal with our clients and like having that boundary, it's a little challenging sometimes.
Yeah. And then I had just listened to another podcast last week that was kind of talking about this. And they said when you bring on people as employees, you need to make sure that they like kind of fit like what you want your business and company to be. And if
Yeah,
anything that they go off of that will come back like on you as an
totally.
owner and stuff. So I think too, just finding the right fit of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm excited to see when you move your new space and kind of what you do with
Oh,
that. That's
so
awesome.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm in the
I love
middle of
that.
renovating now. So it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to talk about what did it look like for you when you went to open your own space? Like, let's talk about kind of the process of the products and the tools that you felt like you needed and what you decided to go for when you opened your own space.
Yeah, so I actually started stockpiling things prior to opening my own business because I knew that was the goal. So I started
So
like
smart.
ordering like supplies like cotton rounds, wax sticks, and I kind of built up a little inventory for myself, just
Okay.
knowing that those were things that I was going to need regardless. One of the things that I absolutely think that if somebody is waxing or even facials that they should invest in is an adjustable bed. It's
Oh
good
my God. Yes.
ergonomics for your body. Like I know another girl that like she had like the flat standard one and she would always complain about her back hurting or like from like hunching over and all that. And I'm like, if you're going to be in this for the longevity of it, you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body because it can be a lot on your body if you waxing all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, and the importance just of like the body mechanics and everything
Hmm.
like that. Like, that's something when I'm training a new employee, it comes in my mind again of like beauty school. And I started in hair as well. And I feel like they emphasis so much like, watch your posture because if you're going to do this like for
Yep.
the rest of your life, your hands aren't going to work, your back's going to basically be out. And
Hmm.
so that is like something so important. I love the focus of the bed.
Yeah, yeah, that was one
Oh,
thing that I was like, no matter what, I'm investing in a good quality bed because there's so many different ones out there.
yeah.
But that was just kind of, I was used to it at the other place that I worked, and it was kind of like a non-negotiable for me. I knew that I needed that when I went into my own space.
I totally agree. So when you opened your own space, did you decide to do hard waxing, soft waxing? What is your focus?
So I do a combination of both. I primarily
Oh,
use hard wax, and then in larger areas like legs, backs, chest, I will use soft wax. But I find hard wax to be a little bit more gentle on the skin, and my clients are more comfortable with it.
I love that. I totally agree. I use hard wax in the intimate areas, and I find it's just so much easier to have that like comfort level where clients aren't feeling like they're getting burned, and you're able to just really give them a better service and not have like the outcome of ingrowns and things like that as
Mm-hmm.
often. Yeah.
And it's less sticky. Like to me,
Yeah.
it's just like when I'm doing a full leg, like I'm pretty like particular about making sure I get all that wax off. And to me, that just seems like a hard area to use soft wax.
Yeah. So you specialize in both female and male waxing.
Hmm.
Did you always do male and female services, or was that something that you gradually kind of took on in your career?
I gradually took it on. So I wanted
Okay.
to perfect doing female Brazilians first. And then once I got the skill level of that down, I took a training on male Brazilians. I just recognized that there was a lack of providers that did male Brazilian. So, one, me being the business person that I am and thinking about ways to grow, I'm like, that already sets me aside from other people in my industry because a lot of people don't do males. And
Yeah,
then I recognize like they want to wax for the same reasons we do. So it's not really
totally.
any different. They get ingrowns, they get razor burn, if not probably even more because their hair is a little more coarse typically.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I just thought that it was a great way for me to expand as a esthetician and open
Okay.
up doors to new clients that maybe didn't think about it or were a little too nervous to try it or didn't know how to go about asking. So I like to advertise that I do it just because it makes it easier for them to feel welcome coming in the door.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that it's just no different than a female service.
Yes.
Awesome. So the training that you took, what did it look like? Was it just a couple hour training and then you kind of had to practice it? What did it look like for you?
So I got trained through the company I used to work for, and they
Okay.
had us watch a training video. It was probably,
Okay.
I don't know, like a 30-minute video. And then we had to take our notes and whatnot. And then I went down to a training center for a day where we had models that came in. So the trainer watched us wax the males and gave us really good pointers on, what to do, what not to do. And then from there, when I went back to the studio that I worked at, I took a couple more models and just got really comfortable with it.
That's awesome. I love that. That's so cool. That like live model and just having that feedback is so important when you're in your career and even just like kind of leveling up and refreshing yourself on waxing. Like I just absolutely love it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so since you've been in the industry for 9 years, but now you have been owning your own business, what do you feel like this session of ownership in life has really taught you about yourself personally and professionally?
I think with ownership, it has like pushed me to be just beyond waxing. I had to learn to be more confident within myself, knowing that like my pricing made sense, and then just how to value my time and energy. And then also just being willing to like stretch myself, even like when I'm in uncomfortable growth periods and whatnot, and extending my business. I think, which I'm going through right now, and I think it's important to evolve and grow. That way you're not getting burnt out doing the same thing over and
Yeah.
over, and then your clients aren't getting bored. So I feel like it's just really shown me that I'm capable of a lot more than, I maybe originally had thought when I first started in this industry. And it just kind of helped build my confidence even more as a provider and personally.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
What do you have kind of molding that you want to start working on then? If you have anything that you're thinking of.
I have so much that's going on right now. I'm like 2026 is going to be a crazy year. So
Yay.
I'm in the process of transitioning to a larger space, which will allow me to have one room for waxing and then another treatment room for my skincare side of my business,
So
which
cool.
I launched about a year ago. But without the separate rooms, I don't feel like I've been able to focus on it. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that. I'm starting some sort of a referral program. I'm in a college area. So I'm like, that's another easy way to expand my clientele. And yeah, just a lot of different things, education. And just expanding myself out a little bit more.
That's great. With this ideas of expansion, what motivates you? Are you like in any groups or do you have any mentors in the industry or do you just see what other people are doing and kind of get that excitement and see what you want to try and all that?
Honestly, I can't say that I've seen like a lot in groups and things. I feel like what got me started was this opportunity to expand my space. And then as soon
Okay.
as I expanded my space, I saw more of a vision of where I could go because it was an opportunity to kind of pivot where my business is. I've got the waxing down. I've perfected that. Like that I can do in my sleep. So I
Yeah.
figured it was a time, like I said earlier, I don't want my clients necessarily getting bored. Not that they get bored because we have good conversation and whatnot, but it's something new to offer to them. It's
Yeah.
something new for them to get excited about. And I think that's important, even if you're not expanding your business, but bringing in new things to excite your clients is going to keep them around. So,
Totally. Well, and you've already created such a trust with them, especially with waxing, that it's really going to be cool for you to see what transitions over and
mhm.
how you can kind of blend that in with your waxing clients and transition them to facial clients and other things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, for you specializing in Brazilian waxing, and this is like one of the most intimate services in our industry,
Mhm.
what do you think has been the key to building the trust and loyalty with your clients over the last few years?
I think it just kind of starts with making people feel safe, not judged, and like respected from the second that they walk in the door. Like when somebody first walks into my door as a new client, like I just start chatting with them instantly, like I've already met them before. And I even have like this cute little sign that says, "Welcome to my space. This is an open space to be yourself." So I think people
Mhm.
instantly see that and then they like feel a little bit more relaxed. And I can just tell if somebody's a little bit nervous I've been doing this for so long that I know just kind of how to get them feeling comfortable. And I tell them, like, your nerves are normal. Like, that is such a normal feeling. But I'm like, people
Yeah.
get waxed every day. And
Yeah.
I'm like, even if it sucks, I'm quick and efficient. So you don't have to sit here forever, and the benefits will outweigh, the feeling of the service. So, and usually by the end of it, they're like, oh my God, thanks. Like, you made me feel so comfortable. Like, I have a lot of reviews about that. They're like, you talked me through it. I'm comfortable. And then, yeah, I think just kind of making sure that consistency is key and you're maintaining like the same standards from that first service to the second and beyond. Um, Oftentimes I hear people like started with a provider. They're like, yeah, they were great. But, as time went on, things were missed or they just felt like they weren't as valuable as when they first came in. So I make sure people feel like they're cared for at every single appointment. Their time is my
Yeah.
time. So.
Yeah. That's amazing. And that's so important. And I see that as well. And I've experienced as well when you've like seen someone and they start getting comfortable with you and it's
Mhm.
like you're there for the service, but you also want to have that connection. And it's like sometimes having that hard boundary. So I love that you're just like, nope, service first. And then, yes, we'll give you the professional connection, but the
Yeah.
quality of the service is that much more important.
Yeah. And then just too, just, I don't know. I mean, making them feel comfortable and relaxed. Like, I feel like I've had clients that have just like opened up to me right away. Like, we've only met 10 minutes ago and you're telling me your life story. So I think it's just so important to make your client feel comfortable when they're already in a vulnerable situation.
Totally. Well, I'd love to talk about mail services just because that is something that you focus on. And for
Hmm.
anyone that is new to waxing or that is interested in wanting to start mail services, kind of a little bit of advice of what you have for them, like a perspective about starting it. Like, were you nervous when you first started? I offer mail services. And I know when we first connected, we were kind of talking about we both have never really had that awkward experience. We've always been able to keep it professional. And that was something that I really loved about you because mail services, I think it's just another skin area. And I feel like you agreed. We both kind of see that at the same time. But even with myself, like with some of my new employees, they're interested or my new estheticians out of school that I'm seeing, but it's nerve wracking. So I wanted us to kind of chat a little bit about advice. Maybe we could give some of these newbies that are intrigued, but also a little nervous about the mail services.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I just put something on my Instagram the other day that said, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I think putting yourself in situations where it gives you an opportunity to grow. Yet when it comes to mail services, I feel like 99% of their time they're there for the right reason. They're there, like I mentioned before, because they want something to improve their skin. They're sick of the razor
Yeah.
bumps, the ingrowns, and things like that. And they're human, just like us. And like you said, it's just, it's just skin.
Yeah.
And over the last, I don't know, I think I've been trained in male Brazilians for like the last 7 or 8 years, and I have yet to run
Oh, wow.
across a situation where I personally felt uncomfortable. I think it's
Yeah.
important to be in charge of your room. This is your room and this is your space. So, like, if you were to be in a situation where you felt a little uncomfortable, I think it's up to you to kind of divert that conversation and kind of keep the ball rolling. Or, yeah. So I don't know. I think waxing males, it's a good opportunity to have loyal clients. They tend to stick with who they go to.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to have to go from different provider and usually they're kind of nervous about doing it anyways, so they like to stick
Yeah.
with like that initial person and build a relationship with them because now they're comfortable, they found their waxer, they don't need to hop around and go from this person to that person. Whereas I think
Totally.
sometimes with females, they're gonna go maybe sometimes where they can get in. Males are
Yeah.
pretty loyal when it comes to services.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I agree with you what you're saying. Like, I feel like all my male clients, even like if I haven't seen them for a little while, they're typically more nervous than we are, and they're so much kinder. Not all the time, but I feel like they're just a little bit more like easygoing
Yeah.
versus what you traditionally feel like. And I've always been able to like sell them products, and I feel like that loyalty right there, like they're one of the most trustworthy
Hmm.
clientele. I feel like. And it really, for me, kind of stuck when I was doing hair and talking to the hair community about haircuts. Like, once a male finds a great haircut and a great stylist, they're going to stick with that because it's not the easiest to get it. And it's so true for waxing as well.
Yeah, and I feel like with waxing with men, usually they're so nervous when they're coming in. So
Yeah.
I think one piece of advice I could give is like make them feel comfortable. Like they can maybe
Yes.
sense if like when you go to greet them or take them to the treatment room, they may be able to sense that you're nervous, and if you're nervous, that's going
Yeah.
to make them more nervous, and then everybody's just nerves are high. So I think
Yes.
it's important to be confident and then just to, make them feel comfortable. Again, they're there for the same reasons your women clients are and
Yeah.
deserve to be made comfortable and treated basically the same as you would your female clients.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Well, I'd love for us to talk about a little bit about aftercare and what you recommend for clients that maybe are dealing with ingrowns, or maybe somebody that's listening that has clients that are dealing with ingrowns or irritation after waxing and are struggling to get that skin to be a little bit easier throughout the waxing process.
So I think when it comes to like ingrowns and like post care, it's important to educate your clients right away
Yeah.
on what to do and what not to do. With exfoliating, usually I don't recommend a sugar scrub. Like I
Oh my
personally
gosh.
am not
Yeah.
a, yeah, I was like, I think it's too heavy in the bikini area. But just let them know how certain things can play into it. So, like I have some gym girlies that'll come in and it's like, okay, well, like I would not work out right after this wax today because then you're going to have sweat and maybe bacteria sitting on those open pores
Oh
and that
yeah.
can cause irritation. So I think it's very important to just set the expectation of what they need to do for home care and how like friction and things like that can impact it. Hydration too. Like I'll have clients that have been like, oh, I've been exfoliating. I'm doing it 2, 3 times a week. But they're not putting that hydration and moisture back into their skin. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you're exfoliating the dead skin off. Now we need to hydrate it. So I think that's a part that maybe gets missed a lot as we hyper focus on making sure our clients are exfoliating and they're not hydrating, which I think can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Especially being in these colder states like we are,
Oh my gosh.
this
Yeah.
cold air just sucks the moisture out of our skin. And I'm like, you wouldn't
Oh,
think that it would affect your bikini area or your legs or wherever, but just like your face gets dry in the winter, your other skin does too. So hydration is another
yeah.
big thing.
Totally. I agree.
And
Do you
staying on a good sweat.
carry
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, know what you're saying?
I'll say, and staying on a good routine too, because I've had clients that maybe push their wax out a week or two, and then they're
Oh yeah.
like, hey, I have more ingrowns. And I'm like, sometimes when you have too long of hair, I feel like that little pesky hair wants to just kind of go hide back in. So staying on your
Yeah.
regular schedule routine that your esthetician recommends, because some people do 4, some 5, 6, whatever. But I think if you get past that point, then sometimes that can cause some irritation as well.
Totally. Well, and I feel like that definitely causes the irritation just because your skin, especially when you're in a routine, gets used to it. And I find
Hmm.
like when my clients stop, it's almost like, I don't know, changing over to a new shaver and just getting a little bit over exfoliation. It's that under exfoliation that kind of causes that ingrowns, and they need to come in and have that wax to help a little bit with the exfoliation.
Yes, yes, agreed. And yeah, and no shaving in between. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess most people that wax know that, but every once in a while I'll have somebody that does it, and I'm like, yeah, no, like if you're gonna like you either need to wax or shave. And obviously I'm gonna
Yes.
recommend a wax, but I feel like that's
Yes.
just throwing your cycles off, and that could also add into irritation, ingrowns, things like that. And not just getting like the perfectly smooth wax with your shaving in
Yeah.
between them.
Yeah. Well, I feel like people always try to push it to when they first start waxing, when you tell them like your hair needs to be 1/4 of an inch, you have to have at least like 2.5 to 3 weeks of shaving. And then I see people, it's like 3 days before they just shaved their underarms and they're like, is it long enough? And like, you can kind of get it, but like you talked about, you're going to have that regrowth and like a lot of times irritation because the hair is either too long or too short. And a lot of times they've missed hairs too, and it's like, oh my gosh, why did you just do this?
Yeah, that's why I try to be open and transparent with those clients that come in. Like I've had the underarm shaver that's like, yeah, I shaved 4 days ago. And I'm like, look, we can either
Yeah,
push this out like a week and a half, or I can do this today, but just know your hair is gonna come back relatively quickly and you're not gonna get the typical like aftercare or response that you would as if you waited a little bit. Like it's not
Yeah.
just gonna be like it's not gonna be the normal
Yeah.
expectation of a underarm wax.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll like work if you're like in a rush, but ideally it's better to push it out. That's kind
Yeah,
of what I tell them too.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Well, I would love to know, what do you feel has set you apart in the industry and has allowed you to scale to the level that you are at now?
Um, I think part of it is just being personable with my clients, like it's almost like we're just having a yap session. Like yeah, sure, I'm sitting there and I'm doing the laxes and whatnot, but like, I don't know, I feel like half the people that walk in my door, I'm like, I feel like we're like friends, and I just set the tone in the treatment room that makes people like want to come back. Like I get excited to see my clients. I'm like, I can't wait. Like when I'm checking them out, I'm like, okay, like I can't wait to see you in a month so you can tell me what happened with, your friend and her engagement, or my pregnant girls. Like I love like
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
great.
time them out for their waxes for when they have their babies. And I
Oh,
don't
I
know, I
love
just
it.
think building that like personal relationship with them. And then I think the space that I created is a little bit unique. It doesn't look like every other salon or spa in my area. I really
Okay.
showcased my personality in my space. And I get so many compliments on like how I've decorated it and things like that. And clients get excited to point out new pictures on my wall or like, cute little signs that I make. So I make it a fun environment, I think, which is important with waxing because, I always say like, I know you don't enjoy having your hair ripped out. However, like I know you enjoy
Yeah,
coming in and talking to me. And yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, I would love to know, well, I guess chat about, have you stuck with the same wax that, or kind of same style of wax that the space that you worked at had, or have you bounced around and tried different wax products in your career?
So I stuck to a company that I thought was fairly similar to the wax that I initially was using. It was very
Cool.
important. A lot of my clients followed me from the previous place that I had worked at, so it was important to me to have something that was comparable to what they were used to, because that's why a
Totally.
lot of them went there, is because they said that
Yeah.
they liked the wax that I had used. So I
Yeah.
made sure to take the time to find something that I felt was comparable, if not even a little better than what I had been using. Um, and I feel like the clients that followed me really, really enjoyed that. So I personally tested a couple. Thankfully, it didn't take me too long to find a
Yeah.
brand that I liked. And yeah, I've stuck with it over the last 2.5 years.
I love that. That's
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah, in the same way, it's like I enjoy trying new wax, but once you kind of find what works for you, it's like that muscle memory and it
Yeah.
just becomes so easy. And like you said, you can do it in your sleep. It's like the best thing in the world.
No, for sure. Yeah, because I don't know. I'm like, and then why change what's not broken? So I found the wax that I like. I use it. And I just remember like there was a couple other ones that I tested out. And it was like, the heat sensitive or it like cracked when I pulled it. And I'm like, I don't feel like this is a good wax for me personally.
Yeah.
So I think once you find what works for you, I don't see why to change it.
Yeah, I agree. I actually, in my business for a few years, I was using a soft wax and we're in northern Arizona. So we're kind of in high altitude. And we were struggling with this soft wax where it was like literally sticking to people's feet. And we would go to remove it. And like, if their feet were cold, it was just straight up glue. And so I had this employee, she's like, why don't you try roll on wax? We're allowed to do it here in Arizona. And I was like, that is cheating. You cannot do that. And finally, like, I gave in and got roll on wax. And I was like, why did I make all of us suffer for the last like 3 years? We still use like soft wax in certain areas and when it's
Yeah.
smaller, but like for some reason, that roll on, because it has that heater on it, anyone can be frozen and the wax comes off. And I was just like,
Interesting.
yeah, and I've never experienced that because like I have been licensed in a few different states, but out
Hmm.
here like it's crazy. I've actually had a client before where like the wax stuck on her, and luckily I was doing a Brazilian, and so I just like put paper towel with oil on it,
Hmm.
and I'm like, well, we'll come back to this. Did our
Yeah.
Brazilian, like warmed her foot up, the wax came off, and then I just used hard wax because I was like, that was the most terrible thing ever, and I'm experienced, and it was foreign to me. I'm like, what just happened? And I don't know. I called the company. I'm like, did something change with this wax? And it's a low temperature wax. And they were saying that maybe with the person's body temperature it
Yep.
changes, but I had never like with hard wax, I understand it, but soft wax, I was like, this is just so fast and the feet is such a
Yeah.
small area. And I specialize in hard wax. And so I do use soft wax like you do for
Mhm.
larger areas, but it's not like where I am, and I'm not sure where you are, like the larger areas are still services people get, but like our bread and butter is Brazilians and brows.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with the legs, it's funny that you say that because that was one thing that I was actually taught is that like if somebody's toes are cold, like it might be. So I'll sit there with a strip and try to like warm their
Yes.
foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, it's crazy. But that's good to know about the roll on wax. Like I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've been hesitant to try it because I just don't understand like fully how it works. And I don't know,
Yeah.
sometimes trying, like I said earlier, like sometimes trying something new can be a little uncomfortable, but I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a
Yeah.
whirl sometime. But
Yeah, I just felt like it was cheating because I was like, "Oh my God, that is like not how it is." And yeah, I we got it and I was like, "I am such a horrible person. Like, thank you for pushing." But it's also like you said, you get in your comfort zone and I was like, "This is what I know and like this works." And you just have to kind of take into caution when someone has their cold feet. We put on a little foot heater now and
yeah,
yeah, but like the roll on has been wonders. Like you can cut your times down in half with the
that's what I
roll
was
on.
gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and for me, like, people have talked about, like, okay, well, the roll-on cost might be higher. It is such a small price point for those, like, little roll-ons that
Mhm.
if you look at how much you would be spending in sticks and strips because
No
of
way.
the application and also the amount of wax, I was
Mhm.
like, "This works." So we do it for larger areas, like full legs, full arms, back, but then any half area, we'll just use the pot with the soft wax
Yeah.
to try to be more just conscious about the money that we're spending.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something to look into because it's crazy for me because it really depends on the leg client. Like
Yeah.
so yesterday I had two full legs and the one client I did her leg in a Brazilian in like an hour. And then the other
Okay.
one it's her leg in Brazilian and it takes me like an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer. So sometimes I think it just depends on the person with like the timing, but I feel like with a
Yeah.
roll on, like either way it's probably still cutting down on time.
Yeah. It does, and it, like, honestly helps with body mechanics and, like, I was like, "This is so much easier," and it's really nice. People enjoyed it a lot more too, I feel like.
Yeah, and I'm sure they
Yeah, so
probably
definitely
love
try
not
it out.
sitting there forever too. Because I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes with those longer like, I'm used to quick appointments, so sometimes those appointments that get an hour or longer can, like,
Yeah.
feel a little long, you know? Like, it's like, "All right, we've chit-chatted, and it's fine and all," but it's like, "All right, let's get to it."
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. How long do you book your Brazilians out? I know we were talking about this before when we were originally having our kind of conversation
Mhm.
to start the podcast, and that was something that I think we should also highlight because I feel like there's a weird buzz around the industry about these fast services, and I don't give a very fast Brazilian. I book out for 30 minutes, and I feel like that's something we agreed upon, and I would just want to kind of touch base on that, why you decided to have your Brazilian services that timeline versus just hustling and doing the 15-minute Brazilians.
So for me personally, so actually my first time clients I book for 45 minutes, my returning clients 30. And the reason
Amazing.
for that being is I don't want my client to feel like I'm rushing them through the door. Or,
Yeah.
if they're 5 minutes late and I have a 15-minute Brazilian, that leaves me 10 minutes, which depending on the person, could do, but it just feels a
Yeah.
little rushed. And I just really like that quality time with each client. So that way, if I do their Brazilian in 15 minutes, we've got a couple little extra minutes to chit chat or, whatever.
Totally.
And I just think that it's respectable of their time. They're
Yeah.
taking the time out of their day. Sometimes it's like my client's lunch or, they found a sitter for their kids or whatever. And I'm like, I appreciate that you took the time in today to come and see me. Like there are many other providers, but you chose to come
Yeah.
in to me. So I'm going to make sure that I give you a quality service and appreciate your time that you're spending with me. Because let's be real, half
Totally.
of us are busy,
Yeah.
busy moms, busy with work, whatever. So sometimes finding that time for yourself is so hard to do. So I appreciate it. And that's another thing that I don't know, I think my clients appreciate is that, when they're in my room, like they are my main focus. Like
Yeah.
even if I have somebody that comes in early or I run, I don't, doesn't happen often, but if I run a couple minutes behind, like the person that I'm working with is my focus.
That's awesome.
Yep, I
Yeah, I
value their
agree.
time as much as they value mine, and I think that that's
Yeah.
why I get that in return from my clients. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
One, especially not making them feel rushed, because I feel like what I experienced and kind of what I contribute and try to focus on is myself, other experiences. I recently like did a photo shoot where it was 30 minutes and we went in and it was like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Trying to get to know you. And then they
Yeah.
took the pictures and you left and it was like, what the heck just happened? Like that, did I black out? Like, and
Yeah.
waxing, I feel like as long as it's not a painful service, which we're able to do with our skills and kind of that training, people don't need a blackout. They can be there with us and
No,
enjoy it.
exactly, and it's kind of funny when I get done with my clients because sometimes they'll be like, "Wow, you did that in, like, 12 minutes," and then I'm like, "It
Yes.
didn't feel like it was that short because, we're sitting there and we're chit-chatting," but I'm like, I'd rather them feel like that to be like, "Wow, that was quicker than I thought," than for them to be like, "Wow, like, she really rushed me out of the door." And 2, unless when it comes to, like, waxing and things like that, if you're not to a point where you have perfected it, feel like there is room for error. So, like, trying
Yeah.
to be quick may backfire because then you might miss something. So, I feel like if you're new to waxing, you don't need to be fast. You need to be
Yeah.
personable and you need to really focus and perfect what you're doing because if you're leaving spots or like you're leaving stubble or you don't take the time to tweeze, like your clients will notice, especially if they've
Totally.
already gotten waxed by somebody else before. They can tell the difference.
Yeah. That has that detail.
Mhm.
I always tell my employees when they start off new, I'm like, just give this service the best detail, but every single service you're doing, rate yourself, be your biggest critic. I want you to sit there and don't use this to hurt yourself, but be like, okay, that poll, maybe I could have done it better. And when I first started, and even now, I kind of get into the love of it. Like, I absolutely love turning a wax strip over and like looking at it and showing a client, being like,
Yes.
oh my God, look at like this hair, and being like, this is amazing. And
Yes. Because you just
I
know
do that.
those clients that you can do that with, or you're like, "You
Yes,
wanna see this?" And I'm like, "I could see all your little hair bulbs on here," and yeah.
yes,
Yeah, and
yes,
then too, like, I feel like if you can have fun in the room too with those clients because I've had some that, like, let's say they had a baby, they let their hair grow for 3 months, and they came in and they didn't do
yeah,
anything, which I'm like, "Cool." And they're like, "I know." They're like, "I already mentally prepared for this today."
yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, that's great. And then there's some where I'm like, I'll just be open with them and this works for me. I'd be like, all right, like this strip, it's gonna probably be a little bit sensitive. But like sometimes I do
totally.
give them that heads up. I don't do it often, but if it makes sense, I will. Or if they say
Yes,
something like, oh, I know that this one's gonna be, you know, a rougher strip or whatever. And sometimes I'm like, no, it really shouldn't be bad. It's just a cleanup. Or other times I'm like, yeah, like this is a full one.
yeah. Oh my God, I totally agree. I feel like there's those clients that you can just tell that you're like, okay, I don't want to say anything, and I kind of have to fake you out. But then the
Mhm.
others, like, let's breathe, let's do this together, like,
Mhm.
let's be in just like kind of this zone together. And
Yeah.
I feel like they need that. I love
Yeah.
that.
And I think that's important to figure out in your treatment room too, is like learning how to read your client. So like you just said, like some of them, it might not be beneficial to let them know, like, hey, like, as a professional, like what strip, you're like, I know they're gonna feel this one a little bit more. But
Yeah,
knowing like what client to disclose that to and what one to just go for it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Well, awesome. This has been amazing. Do you have anything that you would like to share to our audience before I ask my final few questions?
Not that I can think of right now, but yeah, if
Okay.
I think of something, I'll let you guys know.
Well, this has been so fun. Well, I always like to end asking, what is one routine or ritual that you can't live without?
So I think just prepping my day. Or you mean like for like service wise and like my business? Or like do you mean
No,
general
just
life?
like more personal for you,
Personal.
just
Okay.
getting yourself like in kind of the mindset and like kind of what's been like the driving force to allow you to show up and be who you are and grow the business that you've grown.
For me is taking care of me. I can't take care of somebody else if I'm not taking care of myself. So like every morning about 5-6 days a week. I go to the gym, I get my day started, and then I feel like I feel good. So then I can make my clients feel good. So that is something that I prioritize for myself. And then just
Yeah.
taking care of me. Because I mean, you can't, what do they say? You can't pour it in an empty cup. So I think it's just so important, especially because we take care of our clients and, you know, so many other people that we really need to be taking care of ourselves. So I prioritize taking care of myself. And my ritual is, you know, making sure that I go to the gym because I feel the best when I'm active and got that good energy flowing.
I love that. Well, and you like nailed it too. Like we release so much energy that if you're not having that energy flow, you can see the people that just take it all on. And I feel like being in the intimate experience in the room that we're in, like people just open up and you can just
Mhm.
have people that are crying, laughing with you. And it's hard to take on some days that energy. And you really do need to like release it, but then center yourself and kind of focus back to your goal and yourself.
Mhm.
That's great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. So I haven't been doing this with some of my episodes, but because I've been interviewing some people that aren't like specifically in our industry, but have something to do with our industry that are
Mhm.
like doctors and other things like that. But I think that you would have fun with this. I started doing it with a couple other spa owners, but I call it my hot or not series. And so I have 9 questions I'm going to ask you that I just want you to rate hot or not. And
Okay.
so my editor is going to kind of throw them in there, but they're just like fads that are going on right now in the
Yeah.
industry. And the reason I'm doing this is on Thursdays, besides this podcast launching on Wednesdays, I'm doing like a trend Thursday where I've been finding out the trends that are going on and I'm trying to rate them. And I'm not someone that wears like a lot of makeup. I'm a very natural person. So it's been really fun for me. And I actually the other day like tried these like fake freckles and they were so cute. And I was like, ooh, I actually like kind of love this. And so
Yeah.
this
Isn't
is,
that
yeah, something fun.
Yeah, isn't that fun? Like same. Like I don't know, like today I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put on a little extra lip stuff. Like I always put like lip
Yeah.
gloss on, but I'm like, let's make it fun today.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
your
no,
lips look
that's
great. I love it.
yeah.
It'll be fun. It's been weird too. Like some of the stuff that is going on in this industry is like, what is this? Like, why is this happening?
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I mean, and there's just so many things being thrown in consumers' faces. I'd say as professionals, we know better, but like from a consumer standpoint, and it's like hard to decipher like what is actually effective and what is just kind of BS that's being thrown at you. Because they're good at
Totally.
marketing. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
you're good at marketing, you can do anything.
totally. Well, and something I want to do, like I sell professional products, but I've really like grown my business because I'm willing to allow people to like use their products as long as efficiently they're going to work and there's not anything that they're going to be using that's going to be damaging them. But I'm like, if you're going to be using something, I'd rather have you use something than not doing something at all.
Yeah.
And so like with these trend Thursdays that I'm doing, like I've been going off of some fads and getting things that aren't like a professional level, but also are professional level. And it's been cool to like see some of the products that I used to before be like, I will never use that. And I'm using it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I look in the ingredients, I'm like, this actually is quality. And so that's
Yeah.
been really eye-opening for me as I've been kind of dipping my toes into this.
Yeah, and that's completely fair too, because I've told people before, I'm like, if you find something that works, like, yeah, by all means, like, use it. Like, there are some things that I think, you know, maybe are not great.
Yes.
However, there's some, like, I know, like, there's that one line, The Ordinary, which I feel like
Yeah.
can be a good line if you're using it correctly. But I think sometimes
Totally.
people are just buying products because it sounds nice and they're not
Yeah.
really fully understanding what to do with it because they have some high
Totally.
percentages in some of those products that they sell. And it's mind blowing to me that anybody can buy it, but they don't have the education
Yeah.
behind how to properly use it.
Totally. No, I actually had a client the other day and she's like, my skin is super dull. What's going on? Sent me her products and she was using all actives to the point where like her
Oh,
skin literally was stripped and it was just dying. And it was like, girl, you
barrier
need like
compromised.
peptides. Yes. And I like told her this and she's like, oh my gosh, well, this like told me it was going to do this. And it's like, well, yeah, it is doing that. But you also like have to work on that natural rejuvenation and all that cellular
Yeah.
turnover. And so, yeah,
You're
I
stripping
like
your
cannot,
skin
yeah.
raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like my only non-negotiable, like no one is allowed to use the apricot scrub like ever. And so, but I don't even feel like that's even like that much. I don't know. People don't talk about that in our industry. Like When I first got licensed, which was a little bit before you did, I
Mhm.
feel like the apricot scrub was still something that people like went to. And I don't even feel like clients even go to that anymore because there's so many products out there
Yeah.
that hype up what they do and actually kind of work or do work, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally get it. That makes me think of like the tree hut scrubs. I'm just
Oh
like,
my gosh. Yes. Ugh. Oh my God.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's like the new apricot scrub, but for the body. And I'm like, there's
Yes.
so many better things. It's just like sticky and pore clogging. And granted, I did use that like many years
Yeah.
ago, like probably still in beauty school. But now that I've had good quality scrubs, I'm like, when
Yeah.
my client says that, I'm like, can I just put you on to like something that I have?
Yeah.
I'm like, do not use that in your bikini area. I'm like,
Oh my
whatever, put it
God.
on your body, but
Yeah. You're
yeah,
like, please don't. I promise you'll feel better with this.
yes, yes, yeah. And now,
Awesome.
like looking back, I'm like, I don't even know that it was exfoliating. It was just kind of like gooey, you know?
Yeah, just leaving that film, which is like the worst. You're like, this is actually causing your ingrowns.
Yeah,
This will change your life.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so for hot or not, the first question that I have for you is what are your thoughts on LED masks?
I think if you have I think hot. And I
Okay.
think if you have the right one, I think there's a lot of non-effective ones out there.
Yeah.
And then I also think that that's one of those things that you need to be good about using on a regular basis. You can't just
Yeah.
use it once a month and expect results. So,
Totally.
good quality LED and a good routine with it, I think hot.
Yeah, amazing. I agree. And I feel like also people sometimes they go like a little overboard with that. And so people just understanding like there is a point where its effectiveness has reached and allowing that body to kind of rejuvenate. It's not, I mean, you can't go out in the sun for a million hours and not allow your body to rejuvenate.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's something too. Like I have clients that either don't do it enough or they like are the extremists that are doing it like 6 times a day. And you're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, okay, this is not good either.
Yeah. No. Everything
Yeah.
in moderation.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. Okay, next one is sleeping masks.
Like the little ones that go over your eyes just to like sleep
No,
or like the
when I put this
cooling
together,
one.
I was thinking of like the people that keep popping up on my feed that like are like mummies and they have like the mask on. I don't know if you've seen any of these like older women's, but it's like the gel mask and then they have like the neck one and they'll kind of pull it all
Okay. Like
off.
like a sheet mask almost.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
like sleeping ones that it's like it's interesting when you see it. And I feel like after this, maybe your feed will start showing you some of
Yeah,
them, but
I'm
it's
gonna have to
weird.
look this up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm going to say not because I feel like you probably don't need to sleep in it. Like I feel like if a product is gonna be effective, like there should be, like
Yeah.
obviously some products take time to sit, but I feel
Yeah.
like, put it on for like 15 minutes, whatever. But
Yeah.
to sleep in something like that, and that just seems like a lot.
Yeah, the pictures that I've seen, like, these people, I'm like, "How are they not, like, having a full-on panic attack?" And, like, what happens if you have to get up in the middle of the night? Like, or if, like, someone rang your doorbell? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
I'm
I'm excited
definitely
for
gonna
you to
have to
see it.
look
We'll
that
touch
one up because
base.
I have so
Yeah.
many like thoughts going through my mind of like what you may be talking about. Because I've seen like they're almost like the LED ones, but they're like the mask
Yeah.
that people have on. Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking
But,
about?
this one's more like a sheet mask.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
send you some
No.
after we
I
talk so you can see
I
it.
I love a good sheet mask. I think they can be very hydrating and very effective, but
Yeah.
like a sleeping one, no. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say
I'm
not.
there with you. Yeah. Okay, next one is Korean skincare. As
Say
kinda
hot.
like an umbrella
I'm
is
gonna
kinda
say
what
hot.
I'm going on.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
hot. I can't say that I am personally too educated on a lot of it, but I have seen some effective results from other estheticians and people that use it. So I do think that there is room for that in the aesthetics world.
Yeah.
I do think just kind of similar to the LED lights, though, that there's probably some that are being marketed that aren't as
Oh
effective.
my god.
Um,
Totally.
yeah, because I had one girl that was like, "Oh yeah, I tried this Korean line, and it like she's like it, made her skin worse and all this other stuff." And I'm like, well, it probably depends on the quality
Yeah.
of what you're
Yeah.
using. So I think there's room for it in the industry. I'm gonna say hot,
Cool. Next one is dry curls for our hair.
hot.
I love it.
The cosmetologist in me, like, I don't know, I think that it protects your hair better, like you're
Yeah.
not putting all that heat damage on. And if you're rolling it correctly, yeah. I personally haven't used them, but I've seen like people have beautiful curls from doing it. So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
hot.
I love it. Okay, next one, gua sha and facial sculpting.
I'm going to say hot when done correctly. I think there is room for like error if you're not doing it correctly.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
you know what you're doing, it can be effective.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, have you ever done it?
Yeah, I have.
So I don't know. I remember I got the little gua sha thing and the little jade
Yeah.
roller, and for me, I did it, and then I feel like it caused some like lymphatic like drainage for me. So like the next day
Yeah.
or two, I just felt like congested and whatnot, which that was something that I didn't know was gonna happen. So I
Yeah.
stopped using it, and then I tried it again. Like, I don't know, a month or two later, same thing happened. So I'm like, this is actually probably pretty good because it's draining things out that needed to
Yes.
come out.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that I
Totally.
felt congested afterwards, but I'm like,
Yeah.
obviously my body was holding on to something in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like people see that more with, like, the gua sha versus, like, the facial rollers because it's
Yeah.
really, like, getting that in
Yeah.
there. And that's something I have done. I'm actually super excited. This will already probably be aired at the time, but my employee and myself are taking a lymphatic drainage, kinda muscle contouring,
Yeah.
facial, massage course in a couple weeks, and I'm, like, so excited just to refresh myself and really, like, focus on that because
Yeah.
I feel like in school, like, and even sometimes doing, like, refresher trainings, having a business where you don't focus on that, it's like, kinda goes in one ear and out the other, so I'm just excited to kinda take it all in, and I'll share more information with you after.
Yeah, I would love that. I actually have been looking into that myself just because I feel like there's just so much new information from when I graduated that
Yeah.
it's important to just keep educating and learning things. And I don't want to, I've got like some basic like facial manipulations that I've been taught, but I feel like
Yeah.
now that we've learned and progressed as an industry, there's more detail that you can put into your facial massages that'll do more than just make your clients feel relaxed. So I'm very
Totally.
interested in, learning a little more about the facial manipulations and massaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. I'm taking the course in a month actually from today, so I'll keep you posted.
Excited.
Yay. Okay, we just have a couple more. So next one, ice baths, so cold plunges.
Oh God. So um I'm gonna say hot only because I've done them before. They're not pleasant, but I
Yeah.
think there are some benefits to doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
I
I,
love it.
I don't think they're gonna be for everybody, but I
Yeah.
do think they can be beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like the detoxing side, and I actually
Mhm.
interviewed someone yesterday who brought up, like, the sauna effects of detoxing, so if
Yeah.
anyone's listening and they're cringing right now about the ice baths, you can look into the hot side of things and use a sauna as your
Yeah.
hot plunge.
Yes, yes, yes. But
I love
there's
it.
definitely a lot of benefits to ice baths. Like I said, I've done
I
them,
agree.
but I feel like they are not for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, definitely also, like, you talked about, like, your daily activity, I feel like you kinda have to have, like, the right mental state and, like, to do that, or else
Mhm.
it can be, like, a full-on anger fight with yourself, and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, next one, what are your thoughts on Botox and fillers?
I say hot. I feel like I am not opposed to them when done correctly. I do think that this day and age, they can be overdone or done too early. I
Yes.
think that the people that are providing those services should be a little, I don't know, maybe like cautious of how soon they're starting it. Like, I don't feel like a 22, 24, even 25-year-old really needs it. But I
Yeah,
can see it being as like a preventative thing for those that want to like prevent wrinkles and things like that as we get older.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm going to say hot when done appropriately because I think it's
awesome.
so easy to go too far.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and people starting too young when they're not even having, like,
Yeah.
wrinkles, so, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I remember one time being out and this girl, I think she was like 22 or 23. She was bartending, whatever. And I was like, oh, like your skin looks beautiful and, whatever, just complimenting, like as an
Yeah.
esthetician, I was just like, oh, yeah. And then she was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I've been getting Botox. And I'm like, I
Oh my
don't,
God. What? You're like,
yeah, I'm like, I don't know. It's just hard to wrap my head around. Like I could see it,
yeah.
if you're starting it, in your mid 30s and older, but I don't think that anyone in their 20s really needs it.
Yeah. Honestly, just good skincare. I feel like you can avoid using it or avoid having to feel like you need those
Yes,
Botox.
and
And yeah. Yeah.
yeah, agreed. And I think there are, a lot of different things and resources out there that you can use to help prevent or reduce fine lines and wrinkles without having to take that route.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Okay. Next one. What are your thoughts on beef tallow as a moisturizer?
Um, that's something that I don't know. I guess I've been hesitant to even look into. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say not.
Okay.
I've had people ask me about it, but I feel like since I'm not personally knowledgeable enough to have an opinion, I'm just gonna go with not because I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
comfortable telling somebody. Uh,
Yeah.
I've had people ask, and I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many other things out there that,
Yes.
and it really depends on like the quality and what it and where you're getting it. Like I feel like it
Yes.
just hit the market so fast that I just didn't believe in every single beef tallow thing that I was seeing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with that.
Well, I agree. Well, and it's definitely one like from just my research and everything that I've been kind of getting the information, having it be like more of the homemade one. There's no preservatives in there. And so you're literally taking this product and there can be bacteria that's coming out of the animal. And then that
Yeah.
bacteria is now sitting in this and harboring. And so the one thing that I've kind of been getting and my perspective of it is beef tallow, if it's something you're interested in, just making sure that it's one that's created with some preservatives in it so that you're not having fungus and other fun
Yeah.
things that you don't want on your skin.
100%. And I think there's a big area in this industry that's, like natural, holistic, which is great. Uh,
Yes.
However,
To
I
a
think
point.
from a consumer, yeah, to a point, and I think from a
Yeah, yeah.
consumer standpoint, like they just need to understand, like you were just saying, with like the preservatives and things like that, like how that may impact you if you're using something that isn't formulated correctly to be used on your skin.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, last one, still in kind of the skincare realm. What are your thoughts of snail mucin as a product?
Uh, Again, that's another one that I have not taken a lot of time to look into.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna say not until I can look more into it because
Okay.
I am not as familiar with that, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
What do you know
Awesome.
about it? Because I've heard of it, I just haven't looked deep into it.
Yeah. I actually have been like playing with a few different snail mucin products.
Okay.
I'm comfortable having that kind of product. And the reason that I started looking into it is you can see I'm a little red naturally. And
Yeah.
so my body holds more heat. I'm not rosacea, but I found that that product and it's been talked about that for some people it is effective for rosacea. So I just wanted to
Mm.
kind of try it out and I do like it. It's not like my go-to in my
Yeah.
skincare routine, but I find that it is like similar kind of texture of like an SOS serum. And
Okay.
so when I am feeling like a little bit depleted, but it has some activity in it. So it's nice. And where I am, we have like really hard water. So I find that like for me, it was like a nice hydration, but still gave me a little bit of exfoliation. And so I'm for it personally, but
Yeah.
I mean, and I also like my last one on here, I'm taking off. And so as we're kind of talking, I feel like something that I'm also for is like the PDRN. So like the salmon, sperm facials and everything
Yeah.
like that. Like I do see benefits of that, but it's like people are just kind of weirded out by a lot of stuff in our industry. But I don't know if you look at like some of the byproducts of even some of the vitamins we take, like there's
Mhm.
some things that are like ground down like different cells or
Yeah.
it's like a, I don't know. And so it's just like eye-opening to see how functionally it works. And so I don't know. I'm for it as of right now until someone tells me something that maybe will change my
Yeah.
mind.
So with that and like the beef tallow, for instance, like I guess I've just never been one. Like I hear of things like obviously social media, whatever, but I've
Yeah.
never been one to just like hop on and try. And I wait to see if
Yes.
the research and the
Oh, yeah.
findings of it to figure it out. And I feel like with the snail one, like that one's definitely newer than the beef tallow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just try to not, because I'm like, I don't want to like be like, yeah, sure, this is great. And then like a year later, it's like, oh no, that was actually terrible for you.
Yeah.
So
Oh, totally.
that's
Yeah.
with the Korean
Yeah.
skincare. Like I think Korean skincare is wonderful. I've seen it be effective,
Yeah.
and I kind of waited to like see a little bit more about it before forming an opinion on it. But yeah,
I love
those
that.
like I think you've given me some homework to do now. I kind of want to look into it a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, this was fun for me, like, when I was looking it up and, like, some of the things at first that I was getting, I was like, "What is this?" And then I would look into it and I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting." So I made my own list of things I was comfortable with, but it's
Yeah.
kinda crazy what is buzzing out there right now in our industry, and I feel like it's just because so many people have recently in the last few years have become estheticians or cosmetologists, and so there's, like, this overflux of it in our industry, and people
Hmm.
are excited to learn more and share more and
Yeah.
try new things, and
Well,
so I'm
that and
like,
then you're
"What?"
seeing a lot
Yeah.
of a transition. Like there's this weird gray area where you're seeing nurses step into the
Yes.
aesthetics world.
Yeah.
And then so then you're having like that little mix of things too, which has been very interesting to me because I do
Yeah.
think that there's room for it to an extent. I just think that there are like there's like the IVs and the injections and things like that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that there is room for them in that aspect, but I think when it comes to the deeper side of skincare and like the facials and peels and things like that, I think that if nurses are going to get into that area,
Yeah.
they need to educate themselves a little bit
Yeah.
more. Because I'm like, sure, like have you heard of like the NAD?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like IVs and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, I could absolutely see, yes, like a nurse obviously needs to administer something like that. And I could see where there would be room for that in our world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think, I don't know if I had a licensed RN that didn't have an aesthetic background doing like some sort of a chemical peel treatment on me, I would hope that they had like the education behind it. But I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of like crossover where you just don't know.
Totally. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, in the crossover too, like, where I am, it's interesting, and I absolutely love my nurse friends at all. Like, I just think they're amazing, and what
Yeah.
they do is amazing. But at the same time, like, some of the services, like you said, when they are doing microneedling, like, there's one girl that I go to that I trust because she's just been in it for so long and actually goes and does the trainings, but there are other nurses that just because they are able to get a microneedling pen, they're starting microneedling, and so I do feel like what you said, like, really is true, and I think that with the way the industry is changing, there's, like, this huge buzz about nurses, and that's kinda coming in and affecting our industry, and so it's like, my opinion, and I hope people maybe agree, but I don't really care. But my opinion on it is like maybe there's a nurse program for aesthetics where they
I
already know
wish.
like the foundations, like half of our program is learning about like the bacteria, how to not hurt someone. So it's like, okay, skip that for them and then like have it be a program where they don't have to do nails and waxing if they don't want to. It's just like
Yeah.
a face forward program. But if they wanted to take the other sides of aesthetics, then there's that opportunity too. Because like they do know a lot, but I agree with you. Like there's so much about the skin health. And I feel like a lot of nurses are looking more on the body functionally and how the skin
Yeah.
is functioning that way. And it's a little bit of an overlap, but there's
Mhm.
also a little gray area as well.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
wish this would just be easier for me, and I know it'll never happen, but I also
Mhm.
wish that, like, like I'm currently enrolled in school because I would like to do a little bit more medical grade aesthetics at some point in my career.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I'm like, when it comes to like, having to do like these clinicals and stuff like that, I'm like, I wish that there was a way that like I already know the direction that I'm taking with this,
Yes.
that I could
Yeah.
just kind of like go here to dermatology or plastics and do those
That focus.
clinic. Yeah,
Yeah.
versus
That
like
would
I
be
don't
so
need to be
nice.
on a med surge floor. I'm never gonna do
Yeah.
this, and I don't really want
Yeah.
to. So I
Yeah.
personally have found like the thought of that to be
Yeah.
challenging. And I'm like, I wish there was something a little bit more, especially now that we are seeing more of a crossover between the aesthetics world and like the medical world, that there was a
Totally.
direct
Yeah.
way to just do that. But I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
'Cause if I have a nursing license and degree, then I can do any sort of nursing. But So I
Yes. Yeah.
understand the importance of it. However,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have my place in the industry. So
Yeah. I know. I feel like maybe someone that's in that realm can hear and see that there's all these people that are the
yeah,
beauty industry is so buzzing right now, and
yeah.
so is medical.
Well,
So it's like, how can we kind of effectively cross this over and not also like push people out? Because if they're not, like you said, interested in that full on nursing path,
mhm.
then maybe if there was like a mini nursing program that was more skin focused,
Yeah.
then people can actually digest that and focus on it versus having to do clinicals and just crazy hours of schooling and things like
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's just like, I
No.
don't know if you remember like a couple years ago, there was a big thing about like, is it like a medical esthetician, like a true thing or not?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
yeah. And in my opinion, I was like, well, technically it's not because you're licensed as an esthetician and unless you have medical training. But if there was like, I feel like there is room for something like that. If we could have like a medical aesthetics degree
Yeah.
or something like that because there's so
Yeah.
much crossover in it now in 2026.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like there would be a demand for it. That's for sure.
Yeah. On that note, I was licensed in Utah, and there might be another state, but I know Utah, and I did just see this in one of the waxing groups, but they're the only state that has a basics esthetician license and a master esthetician license.
Mm.
And so there's one that is just a basic program where you are basically only doing facials. You can't do certain degrees of chemical peels. And then there's one that's more invasive. And I actually have a really amazing friend who's a colleague who has been licensed for like 21 years. And when their program advanced to this like master esthetician, she was working at a spa and had
Mhm.
been there for 10 years. And then these newbies were coming out of school with this license, and she actually had to go back to school to get that license to be able to start like making more money and do the services that she had always been doing. But
Yeah.
it was just because like at that time in Utah specifically, like the industry was growing so much and they were trying to basically umbrella us to help people out and not have harm for clients. And
Yeah.
it was cool. Like when I did it, luckily I was past that portion of it, but it's
Mhm.
interesting. Like I'm now in Arizona. In Arizona, it's people still call themselves in certain places like a medical esthetician or a master esthetician. And out here, that's not a realistic term. And so it's
Yeah.
made up, which is interesting. And then, yeah, in this one group, this girl's like, well, actually in Utah. And I was like, oh, I remember that. Like, that's definitely how
Yeah.
mine
I'd
was.
say Minnesota has something similar. They don't call it a masters. They just called it like an advanced aesthetic license. But
Okay,
I felt
cool.
like theirs was silly. So you have like your
Yeah.
aesthetic license. I'm in Wisconsin. So like I literally can drive 15 minutes and be in Minnesota. So I
Oh my
had
gosh. Yeah.
managing, I
Okay.
ran across this where this girl, we had high frequency that we were using in some of our like bikini treatments.
Yeah.
But she couldn't do it because she had
Yeah.
a Minnesota license, and unless she had the advanced license,
Uh-huh.
then which I'm like, high frequency seems like, to me, it seems so basic.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
me, theirs is kind of silly. It was like high frequency, and then, yeah, like chemical peels and enzyme treatment. I don't know. There was a couple, but I'm like, so what is their license really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Theirs was silly to me, but I get it where they're like,
Yeah.
if there was like a different level to it.
Totally. Oh, well, awesome. This was so much fun
Yes.
talking with you. I would love to end this. If our listeners are wanting to connect with you, where can they find you? Where can they reach out to you, follow you, hear
Yeah.
more about you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram and my at Smooth Aesthetics by Britt.
Okay, perfect. And we will have that in the show notes below. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for being a part of this space and for listening to today's episode of Beauty Talk Confessions. I wanted to take a moment and recognize our amazing sponsors, Prickly Bear, a desert-curated post-hair removal skincare line with pre- and post-care products created to support healthy skin beyond the treatment room, launching this summer. If this conversation resonated with you, make sure to follow the show and share it with someone in the beauty industry. Staying connected is how we grow, learn, and support each other. You can also follow us on Instagram at Beauty Talk Confessions and Prickly Bear for updates, behind the scenes, and more conversations like this. And if you have a moment, leaving a review helps this podcast reach more people who need this conversation too, and it would mean the world to me. This is Beauty Talk Confessions, and I'll see you next week.